Welcome back to the WODprep podcast. I'm your host, CJ DePalma, and this is the morning show. Good morning. Good morning. Solo show. I feel like I can't hear myself. Hello, hello, hello. There we go. Can you guys hear me? Camera, audio. Good. Yep, sounds good. All right. Good morning. What's going on? Chat, everybody. All two. Big show. Big show. What's up, Kenneth? Kenneth decided to join. Kenneth can only join at 7 a.m. I feel like Kenneth hasn't been on a show in a while. Good morning, Natalie. Natalie, your lifts were amazing. Thanks for sending me them. I don't think I can power clean 190 like that. So awesome. Good morning. What's up, Braden? Man, I don't even remember the last time I did a solo show. I feel like I lied. I feel like I did one last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. You guys would know better than me. My memory's pretty shot. I really feel like the recurring neurological things are starting to actually affect my memory. Like I'll walk out of the house and it's just like, oh, I forgot keys, and then a wallet, and then a cell phone, and then Bennett's stuff. Like it just is crazy. I'm just like running in circles all the time. So we are starting to get into the thick of, I think, the CrossFit season. Everyone's like, oh, this is it, and then it kind of shuts down. I don't think it is. I think we are right on like the starting point of when things are going to start ramping up. We're going to start seeing training and decisions are going to be made. You know, I know WFP is whatever, but it's still going to be something to talk about in December. Wadapalooza qualifier is finishing up, and people are getting invited, and so it's going to be a good season, man. I've got this like aura or vibe of our space, and man, I'm just so it's November and I've never been more motivated and positive for the season. I lied. That's probably not true. I haven't been this motivated and positive for the season and how it's going to play out in years, right? At least from like a work perspective and a like optimism point, right? CrossFit, we're fighting an uphill battle, and it's going to take a long time to get over the hump, right? Like we had just this like downhill momentum for so long, and then in 2018 it started to turn around when Greg made all the changes, and then in 2020 it basically hit rock bottom, and then we've been trying to fight uphill with no effort for however many years at this point, until I don't know, probably a year ago, like around this time last year, right? With, I would say Lazar's death being the absolute rock bottom, and and obviously from his death there's nothing that can even compare, but everything that was going into CrossFit or not going into CrossFit at that time, like it all sort of culminated at that point. And since then, I feel like every direction and change and focus and in marketing ploy or like decision, everything has seemed to be moving in the right direction, and momentum I think is the highest it's been in a long time. The women and men's field, from a sport perspective, the women and men's field is going to be the most exciting, best race that we've had in years, right? And we sort of talked about that at the top of Rogue. It's everyone is going to be back except maybe, barring an injury, maybe Gabby. That's like a podium contender on the female side. And we've got a lot of young female athletes and not young female athletes like Lucy, making their place and their self known. Laura most likely will be back. And so it's going to be good. I'm super excited. Um, I think the season layout already is having it in November is really good, right? You heard Dallin on Sevon say he has his season planned out already and times, et cetera. And so that's really, really, really important from a professional standpoint or an athlete that wants to do this as a job. Um, Professional is probably a loose term, and so it's cool. It's exactly what we want to see. Um, More semifinals, masters in person, quarterfinals are back. Um, you know, uh, Affiliate Con was amazing. Like, there's just so much momentum, and then maybe I'm just in my bubble, but it's Affiliate Con was crazy. I met like 20 new gym owners that were either opening or within a year of opening, and I just didn't think those people existed anymore. Like, I just didn't think affiliates were being um, purchased and open in general. So it was really cool to see. Um, Lucas, we just wrote the next design, so by the end of the week, you'll have um, what our next focus will be, and it'll be kind of like our volume accumulation phase. So we're putting that together this week, and it'll start the following week, like November 17th or something like that. Lucas does our template track, WODprep programming. If you guys are looking to follow a program, WODprep programming, WODprep.com. I feel like there's like a free trial. Do I have a free trial still? Let's see. WODprep.com/7-day trial. Is it still a thing? Yeah, there we go. Boom. Perfect. I'll throw this in the chat. Best program ever. That's right. Boom. There we go. Pull that out of the chat. So I'm super excited for the season. I'd made notes today. You guys would be proud. I actually have like a plan. So I want to talk first. I'm sick. Well, I'm not sick. I'm fighting to get to fight. I'm fighting being sick. What y'all's go to if it's coming and you're just going to start taking anything to fight it off? Like, what do you go to? Is it like a tea or, um, or a, I always just start taking Zicam. Like, I've done it since college, and like as soon as my throat gets a tickle, like I am boom, Zicam, like religiously in water. And I try to, like increase sleep or take an extra nap or maybe actually sleep over 6 hours in a night. Um, but my go-to is always Zicam. What y'all's go-to? Do you start taking zinc? And then I've switched it. Like I go, like I just don't have any zinc in the house right now, but I've switched to zinc recently, but I still had some Zicam. And so that's like my number one. What y'all's go to if you're gonna get sick, or if you think you're getting sick? And I have, all right, I feel good if Vicky's doing it because I'm kind of like working with Claire and Ashley. Ashley's one of my good friends who was at the games with us. Um, uh, and uh, Anyways, they're like full on uh like health snobs, and so everything that I've ever done or eaten or taken or drank, I just like have to sit and think about it twice. And so I was unsure if Zicam was like a good one. uh like I say, like I don't know if there was like, I don't know, heavy metals in it or plastics or something, which there probably is. But anyways, you know having Bennett, you're just now I'm just more nervous about everything. Oh, I so hit a gummy. Yeah. I've that's what I want to do. Um um that's funny. I we usually do like a couple episodes of Blaze for dinner with Bennett. This is like totally topic change. And and so just the last, like, I don't know. I think he's getting sick, and this is sort of where that was coming from. But I like X'd out TV. I was like, all right, we're going no TV this week, because he was just like getting getting real pissy about it. And so it's been like a grind in the house lately with work and just like general fatigue, and I've been gone a lot. And so it's been a lot of my on my wife and on Perrin. And so um I'm like committing to like fully blocking out work and work requirements or anything from 3 basically till he goes to sleep. So, you know, like I'm not just like, hey, no TV, but you have to entertain Bennett for the entire afternoon. So we're like committing to that. Anyways, odds are he's gonna wake up sick. As he was going to sleep last night, he just like started losing his voice. So his little squeaky voice was just like cracking and like I was so sad. I'm hoping that he wakes up okay, but I'm not optimistic. Like at all. I think he's gonna wake up and be sick as shit. So it's I'm hoping not, because I gotta work. Yeah, I don't do so. Vicky, probably I think you're talking about Zycam, but I know it works. Yeah, I mean, I've always done it in, you know, knock on wood, in I don't know, 10 years, and that's not even an exaggeration. It's probably longer. I will call it like after college. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I've been really, really sick, and 2 of them were both times I had COVID, and COVID just hits me really, really hard for a really extended period of time. Both times I've had it. Um, and other than that, I had the flu for like 72 hours last year. Benny gave it to me from school. And it crushed me hard. But other than that, you know, and I mean, even before the COVID thing, I probably hadn't been sick. That was 2021. Or maybe was it September 2020? I think so. Yeah, September 2020. I mean, I can't even remember the last time that I was like really sick for more than like 24 hours. I'll get 24 hours. I'll start taking Zycam. I'll sweat. My body will get really achy, and then I'll wake up and I'll feel fine. Clean eater, deodorants. I don't do the. It's so funny. Parent thinks I'm weird, but I haven't done deodorant since like college. In college, I would do like actual antiperspirant stuff, like as terrible as it could be, to where I wouldn't sweat. And then I just felt like when I would wear deodorant, then I would sweat more, or like it would show through my shirt more. So I just never wore it, and I just never feel like I have body odor. I mean, I assume I do, but I just don't. I just don't wear deodorant. I don't know. I just don't. I don't like to. It makes me feel funky, and I feel like I end up sweating more when I'm wearing it. And I've just never felt like I'm a smelly person. Okay. So the first thing I had on here was, I don't know if you guys follow this guy, um, Pad O'Leary. I don't know what the fuck his name is. Anyways, he's like this little this white knight dude for the girls. But he, you know, he like gets in people's Instagrams and like trolls them, saves Danny Spiegel a lot, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so here, I'll just play it.
Today we have Mitchell Hooper winning one of the most prestigious titles in Strongman, the Rogue Invitational, and he was met with some unjust comments from quite the maggot. Let's see the comments. So we have Ashley Hooper, Mitchell's wife, so proud.
Which is so strange, by the way, but that's their personal life, and then they do that.
And she should be. And then we have this little.
So I've seen this Blueprint Health and Fitness in the chats. So I've seen him in the chats, or this person, he's definitely been in the YouTube comments and threads, this Blueprint Fitness. And yes, it's Paryn, Paryn, spelled the right way. This is a weird way to spell it. Anyways, I actually don't know Paryn. I know who it is, but I don't know her personally. Okay.
Blueprint Health and Fitness. While you were taken back, I guess all those sympathy posts were just for clicks. To leaving a barrage of comments towards Mitchell Hooper and his family, ending with this one. It's always those who make the most noise who have the most to hide, which is interesting coming.
So just to be clear, everyone fucking knows that strongmen take steroids. It's not even a question, right? I hope that's like, just like wrestling is fake. Like, it's your thing. Everyone does it.
From you, and you know what I'm talking about, you cunt. So here is Blueprint Health and Fitness, run by a fella called Craig. Here is Craig. And he also coaches kids, which is very fucking worrying. 11 men charged with online sexual solicitation of children, Fort Worth police say. And you're thinking, no, it can't be. One of which, Craig Bridgeland.
This is fucking nuts. This dude is a sexual
Bridgeland, 42 years old, Brisbane, Australia. And here is the man himself, Craig Bridgeland, charged with being an online sexual child predator. You said it yourself, those who make the most noise always have the most to hide. You cunt. Hello. Today we have...
Crazy. So this dude is in the chats. Like, I've seen him in whatever, or he's messaged me directly. I don't know. Has he messaged me directly? Maybe I'll pull this off the screen. Let's see. And so anyways, so they found him. Thank you for your post. My son trains at the CrossFit gym in Brisbane. Happy to say that as soon as I reported this to the journal, they fired him. That's nuts.
Hello.
This is crazy. Maybe not move through my thing. I'm trying to think if me and this person have ever spoken. No, we haven't. Okay. But still, that's nuts. This dude's a child fucking predator and he coaches kids. How the fuck do you miss that as a gym owner that lets them coach kids in your gym? That's fucking crazy. Nuts. Absolutely insane. I just thought that was insane. But he's definitely been in like the Sevon chat or he's commented on this show at some point. I just know the blueprint name, whatever it is. Just thought it was pretty wild. Anyways, so Dave's week in review was shifting gears. Was good. It was really funny to hear basically the entire week in review was questions about the ranch that hasn't been announced yet. And Dave, in full Dave fashion, like deflected the entire time. It was kind of funny to watch. It sounds like there will be opportunities to come do classes this is my guess. It sounds like there will be opportunities to come do classes. What's up, Jeremy? At the ranch or come visit the ranch the entire week. And then they are going to compete there on Thursday. Like, that's for sure what the fuck is going to happen. I hope they announce that this week. But it was funny. It was like 10 questions that he wouldn't answer. But there's no way. The ranch is like fundamentally a large piece of land, but it is a lot of like unused, like you can't just go and hang out there or get thousands of people there. And they know thousands of people would go. If they said that there was going to be spectators I bet they could sell a ranch ticket for like $1,000 and people would buy it for sure. It's going to be great. I'm like, just this like momentum and hype, guys. The games are fucking 9 months away. Okay. 9 months. And we're already hyped about it because of where it is, the association it's going to have to the ranch. We're fairly confident we're going to have a ranch and it's going to be awesome. Like, rancher's going to be on TV. We're going to watch it. They're going to do, I hope they do a ranch run. And I hope they make them turn around and do that shit again. That's what I want. And so it's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. I'm super excited for it. And the hype is going to be, it already is really solid. But it was for sure clear in Dave's week in review that there's going to be opportunities to go, even if it's not on Thursday. Hiller took the Korea trip. He's interviewing Sung Young Choi, which I thought was pretty cool. They stopped into a place called CrossFit Dinosaur, which is fucking dope. An awesome affiliate name. I want to see what the logo is, which is exactly what I anticipated. a T-Rex, which is for sure what it should be. Yep, that's exactly what we want to see. T-Rex. I think that's the only dinosaur that's appropriate for a CrossFit dinosaur logo. Like it would be weird if it was like a brachiosaurus. I don't know, maybe, or pterodactyl. I don't know. I think T-Rex is probably the right one. Over the weekend, right? Obviously everyone watched a lot of Rogue, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Well, a lot about it in general, but I think the biggest thing that is pretty cool is just like watching Katie play ball every day, right? And it is something that concept of playing ball is something that everyone is doing more of, which I think is really, really important, including Dave, because I think it humanizes and and it humanizes them, and it just creates a better relationship, right? Dave for the longest time he was our villain, right? I mean, for years and years, I mean, really until he got fired. Like until that day, Dave was the villain. And so we haven't had a villain, and not that we need one, but having someone kind of just in the middle, right? Like Dave is like the savior, and then the villain, and then like everyone loved to hate him, and then we needed him, and all of these things, but we needed him, and then he was still just on this pedestal of being untouchable, right? And I don't know if him becoming touchable is like a byproduct of the direction of CrossFit or anything, or just Sevon just beat down the door long enough, and that relationship and that openness was sort of built over the years, which I feel like is probably a big influence there. And so it's just cool to see, right? Someone like that, NorCal Syndicate, like just all of these things, everyone's just playing ball more. There's not these untouchable Joe and Bob, right? I know all of you guys in the YouTube hate him because Hiller doesn't like their programming, and he yelled at Taylor and Hiller or whatever. But like, no matter what, they are, part of the upper echelon of like influencing people in the space because of they run the age group games, and now they have a semifinal. And so it's just cool that all of these people that like are in these positions of power, is power the right word, of influence, play ball with everyone, programmers, coaches, YouTubers, whatever. I don't even know why I referenced I gestured at myself. No, I'm a coach. I'm not a YouTuber. I just like to come on here and people listen, which is cool. And so it's just an interesting shift in this CrossFit space that I really enjoy. Uh, and I think it's one of the reasons why this momentum shift is coming forward, and why we're like we're getting momentum, we're climbing out of this valley, and like we're getting to the top of the hill, and I really believe that this next year is going to be a big year. I think we always say like, oh, this year will really tell a lot of the future, and then it kind of does and it kind of doesn't. I think the past year has really told us our direction, and I think we're starting to reap the benefits of what that is. In this, like, we're starting to have some consistency, which is really just a breath of fresh air. And so yeah, it's really good. I'm super excited about it. Okay, I had some other things pulled up. Natalie likes strong men. CrossFit is getting taste of strong woman. Getting a good dose of CrossFit. Did the strongman get a dose of CrossFit? Just the longer events? Oh, that 3-round, or that yoke carry to 3 rounds of, or the 3 climbs. I feel like they didn't get any CrossFit. I don't know if there's any crossover there. Do you think there is? Hmm. Maybe not. All right. So we did the Patty thing. Chase and Bill reviewed. I haven't watched all of it. Whoops. Not that one. That would have been awkward. That would have been a sad day. All right. Perfect. So Chase and Bill reviewed. Therefore, a race. Okay, that's true. I didn't think about that. They did race. They had multiple people on the floor, like a true race. Got it. Interesting. I never thought about that. I don't know if that's a CrossFit influence. Maybe it's just like a different style. But it does make sense that is a change and it's a different thing. It's like truly a race instead of just like a, I don't know, like a one-on. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so we're timestamped at 38 because I want to talk about good races don't mean good programming. But I kind of just wanted to go to the end and maybe review sort of all of them. And so this was, 4 biggest takeaways. The broadcast was awesome. I think these were all good. I don't think a lot of them were negative. Laura and Pat will. I for sure think Pat will do the season. I'm with Laura just winning another 300 grand. I don't know. I mean, she probably will, right? I mean, she's obviously very fit, but I wouldn't bet on it. Like if I was just like, hey, here's $100, will Laura do the season? I probably wouldn't put my money on it. Just because I'm unsure. I definitely probably am leaning that she will, like I said, and not because of anything other than the momentum in the space is better, and being out of this space is probably not the best for her image. And personally, right? I think like, oh, this won't hurt my marketability and that kind of stuff. I don't know. I know she kind of like, like, what is it? Beats to the tune of her own drum. Is that how you say it? But I just think that she will, I don't know. I think it will behoove everybody to come back to the season that didn't last year because of whatever they were mad about. And yeah, I just think it will, I think it'll behoove everyone. Do you think whatever Jeremy asked, do I think whatever Tia chooses to do so affects Laura's decision? I don't know. And then Natalie said the same thing. Well, they asked her directly, right? She's not a rogue athlete. And so, I mean, will affect Laura's decision. Maybe. Yeah, I agree, JD. So you'll stay at Rogue and continue to dominate. I don't know if continue to dominate is a valid statement after this year. And we're going to get into that in this next comment, but I'll finish this thing. Do I think that she will continue to choose based on Tia? Well, it's only happened twice, theoretically. And so this is the only one where we've kind of assumed that she's done that. If she doesn't do the season, then yes. Because this is just like a speculation of because Tia wasn't doing it, and then Tia was, Laura wasn't, Tia pulled out, Laura came in, right? That's just a very ipso facto. And so if she doesn't do the CrossFit Games season, then I will agree with this statement. Do I think her decision is made based on Tia? Then yes. Um, and so I think that's the driver there. So we'll see. We'll find out in the next 3 months, right? But if she doesn't do the season, then she for sure is just avoiding Tia and just wants to get her paycheck. But if Tia sees that and really understands that that's the case, as long as she's not pregnant in a year from now, she'll be like, fuck that shit. And she'll go and she'll beat the shit out of her in Rogue. So yeah, it doesn't seem like that's the case now. It seems like it could be. And so I'll withhold opinion on it until we see her games season status. But I agree, it definitely feels like that, but we'll see. Okay, so let's go through their stuff, right? We're gonna talk a lot about good races, don't mean good programming, in a minute. Seeing Rogue make good changes to the duel. Now we need to do the final. I'm going to come back to this. I don't know what meant by that. It's nice. I can just go like this.
Better. Like it was very hard to come off the high. And maybe that's what it was. And I don't really know how this is the dumbest final ever. So how can you have one?
It was a terrible final. There's no question about it. It was the worst. Hands down terrible. No, I don't think, she didn't do it, right? That's like saying, yeah, if you win the competition, like you win the competition, Jeremy, asterisk next to Laura's name. I don't think it matters. I think that's we're just I don't know. It's irrelevant, right? I'm not saying she's the second fittest person on earth until she goes and gets second at the CrossFit Games. Okay, so we're going to come back to the programming and races one. Changes to the duel. The final was terrible, absolutely terrible. It was just a bike sprint. I agree. Justin is back. We talked about this yesterday. What's happening here? The duel was good. I love the new format, and it wasn't even a new format. It was the same format. It was just they just alternated, which was it's a very simple change, but what it did do was it hurt for sure Roman and Danny, right? Because they started getting fatigued, and Jason and Laura didn't, right? Like Danny just didn't have any gas left in that last one, and so it was fun. It was interesting to see. Like she was just torched when she got into that last event. It was too close, too close together, and her fatigue started to accumulate, which was pretty interesting. That was the case in general. Harry Lightfoot, awesome. I hope he gets good enough to be a perennial games athlete, and continues to be. He was last place, so I hope that he's able to move the fitness needle, and improve and continue to be at the forefront. Everyone's too serious, and we need someone like him on the floor, 100%. Right? Let him win one big paycheck, and he'll always be around, and he'll be able to be entertaining the entire time. Right? Like everyone loves Dallin, and everyone loves James, and everyone loves Jason. I think Jason does a better job, but Dallin and James, Dallin is for sure a fan favorite, but he's not he's super serious. And so is everyone else, but it's good. Colton, everyone's a fan favorite, but he's not an entertainer, and it's okay to have an entertainer on the floor. Okay. Rogue showed us all why WFP missed the mark. I didn't. Here we go.
So that's pretty much having him cheer for him, but it was cool. Colin, cheering on the last guy on the floor is the most annoying thing possible. Yes, as someone who's been that last guy several times, I concur. All right.
Good commercial.
19 years of watching the games to perfect what you want at an event. Rogue has been going on for 7 years. of which you have been able to watch a more exclusive event and an inclusive event, the best in the world do these things. And you claim to do all of these things, or that you were going to, and you miss on all of those. And Rogue just showed us, and not just WP, us all, what a premium elite competition is supposed to look like and run like and be covered. They're not programmed, but because I feel like that was the nail in the coffin personally. Because when this whole big W thing's getting promoted, and it's like this is it. This is the professional circuit, and we're going to do everything. We've learned all of these things. We're going to do everything better, and none of it is. Programming's not. The coverage not. The venues are not. Lighting is not. It's not. It's a great opportunity for athletes. I agree.
All right. So Rogue showed us why. Yeah. I mean, and so I think this is where WFP is going. You know, I don't think WFP makes it out of the next season. One, I think we're going to see a huge shift in the talent pool that's there consistently. They're just not going to do it. But before that, you know, $15 million, it's not that much money. And I know that's a crazy thing to say, but it's just not that much money at the highest end to put this on. You know, I would bet that Rogue spends millions, if not $10 million, just to put this event on alone. Right. I mean, so, you know, 15 million sounded like a huge nest egg, but it's just not big enough to turn the needle. And it doesn't seem like WFP put the right people, you know, like, sure, you've been in CrossFit a long time and you can write a program and whatever, and the programming is not terrible, but like it costs a lot of money. And I don't think they had enough to turn the needle to make it happen. And also, you know, everything else that came with that of this, like, you know, moving against the grain of the actual CrossFit space and wanting to be this in lieu of CrossFit, not in support of, right? Okay, spectacle was amazing. Lucy can win the CrossFit Games. No, I mean, Lucy is going to be a podium contender. I think Lucy is arguably the second fittest person on the planet right now, in a broad spectrum sense, like a pure CrossFit standpoint. I think if the games were right now, Tia is still in a league of her own, and Lucy is probably second, fighting with Laura if she did it, Olivia, potentially Emma Lawson. And so, you know, we talked about it on Sunday with Claire, the top 6 males and the top 4 or 5 females are pretty much the top females and males in our space, in the leaderboard shook out to show that exactly. But I don't think she can beat Tia. I do think that if Laura comes, Lucy comes, Tia is there, Emma's fitter, Olivia's fitter, or Emma is stronger, Olivia is fitter, it's going to be a fucking awesome event. And I think it will be one of the closer events that we've had in years. I still think Tia wins handily, but maybe not by 100 points, right? Maybe she doesn't get into the last event and victory laps it. So for sure. I feel like Danny's shorts just get shorter every year. When they were reviewing the handstand push-up of whoever it was, like you saw whoever was on the left side of the screen, then you saw Danny's, and like her shorts only went like halfway down her ass. It was pretty wild. Chandler's dive is very Chandler-esque. Watched Gee's dive on his shoulder. Clearly that's a separated shoulder, or it was, or dislocated, like that, like levering down pattern. That shoulder's force was pushing out the back, and you can really see getting that thing. Okay. I wanted to listen to what they talked about good programming first, and then I want to talk about it.
So this will tie in a little bit with what you said in the final, and I'm trying to put this in context of what we'll talk about on Thursday. But I'll say this: good races do not mean good programming. And I don't mean specifically from Rogue, but I've seen this at other events where the programming wasn't great. And take a bad semifinal event. Which one would be? Take the NorCal Classic. That programming last year was the worst rated programming we had of all the semifinals last season. Mm-hmm. But it all came down to the last event and one plate change and this amazing drama story kind of a thing. And my takeaway is seeing this play out thematically, and now a bit at the Rogue Invitational, is we can't just rest on good races, meaning we had a good comp. Because there's a lot of things I saw this weekend, and Bill, you mentioned one of them in terms of the final, and we'll talk about more on Thursday, where the visuals, the duel, the races, like all of these things, the venue, like top, it's the best out there right now. in terms of quality, the best. And then you look at some of these events and what they're the order or what they programmed, and you're just like, this is almost taking away from all of that. And a lot of people like, oh, the program doesn't matter as long as we get the right people there. It's like, that's untrue. We've debunked that myth for forever. And I think
So that concept, as long as we get the right people there, the programming doesn't matter. Now, and so that's what I want to talk about specifically. Let's see. Let me finish their thought.
There needs to be more tension in that side, because there's a really, I mean, we saw this in Dubai for several years, right? We're just like, guys, what are we doing out here?
Yeah.
It's starting to be a part of the conversation, but not in a good way. And that shouldn't happen at Rogue.
Right.
And that was a takeaway that I could see either how I felt myself, in my opinion, how others were talking about it in the space, and just like there was the noise out there, because usually the noise is positive. Like Rogue has carte blanche. The most carte blanche of launch carts you could have is the Rogue Invitational. It's like, hey, what do you want? We make all this. We'll pay for it. What do you want? And so another piece of that is that, why are we seeing the same workouts for like the last 3 to 4 years? You know what I mean?
Okay. I
know what you mean.
Right. So like that part, I would like to see advance in years to come, because, heavy back squat, heavy deadlift, a lot of hinging, some beat down there, and run with this, and like you see it, right? Like it needs to evolve.
Yeah. So first, 100% the programming needs to evolve at Rogue, to, like, as Chase said, be carte blanche. It shouldn't be repeated. And I think that's just a byproduct of having the same 3 people write the program for 7 years, that only write one competition. And so I do think someone else needs to be in Chris and Josh's place, whatever that looks like. It could be literally it could be anyone, and it doesn't even matter. Just someone needs to bring new ideas to the table. And so I agree with that. That wasn't even what this was going to be on. I think that's really, really important for Rogue. Not that it will matter. They could do it for another 10 years and we would all still be very fucking excited. But the midget bros, that's funny. They are both really short. That's actually a funny name. They just need a different flair. And I'm not saying that they did a bad job. I mean, this year there was definitely more holes and issues. I am interested to hear Chase and Bill talk about it a little bit more from a balance perspective. But it's Rogue, and the whole point is a spectacle, and it's a spectacle with the exact same workouts that we've had for the last 5 years. And so let's change it up. Let's move away from that, and if that's like whatever it looks like, I do think, and because this is the first year we've really like talked about it publicly, or like the noise in the space. Katie, like I was talking about, Katie plays ball, and I think she's hearing it, and I feel like it will happen in general, and not even, with all respect and thanks to Josh and Chris, but it seems like it needs to happen. Okay. Good races do not mean good programming. And so the one thing that leads on is that the right people will always get in regardless of the programming. And now the problem with that is not the case anymore. And the reason why is because the field is narrowing. Okay. The best aren't getting better, right? And there are more people coming up and joining the bunch. And so when you have something like Del Mar coming up, programming is extremely important, because there will only be 2 spots. And it sounds like Justin, James, and Dallin are going to go, but there's only going to be 2 spots. Okay. And so if that's the case, that means programming, and this isn't just to, yell at Bob and Joe. This is literally everybody, right? And programming becomes extremely important, because if there's only 3 that are going to be there, there's 3 that are going to be there, but only 2 are going to get invited. Programming is extremely important, because it doesn't mean that the right 2 are going to go, right? Because who's better between those 3 athletes? You can't answer that question. That's impossible. Justin, James, and Dallin, they're arguably 3 of the top 5 fittest people in our sport right now. And depending on the programming will determine who is in the lead. And you can look at the programming and have an idea prior, which means that balance is going to be key. So even the concept good races don't mean good programming. There will pretty much always be a good race, like they said, moving forward at any of these semifinals, maybe besides some of the European ones. But no matter what is up, there will always be a good race. But the programming will determine the outcomes in all of these, in the sense of it is not just the right people are going to go, right? Because if it's a max squat versus a max deadlift versus a max clean versus a max snatch, all of those, because everyone is so close, is going to just shift the needle a little bit. So balance is in programming, in my opinion, is at an all-time high of importance in semifinal and games level. Not quarterfinal, not so much. They'll make it there, right? As Hiller says, it doesn't matter. Open and quarterfinals are still a little less important, okay? In the sense of the games athletes that will make it to the games or have an opportunity to make it to the games will make it through those easily. I'm not saying they shouldn't be perfect and we shouldn't focus on them being perfect, but it is a little less important. But at semifinals and at the games, the field is way too close on the men's side and the women's side for it not to be over. Like, the programming has to be on point. And talking, Natalie's coming back to Rogue. I feel like the programming is cool when it's short. The longer workouts were just boring to watch. Yeah, the run is always boring. The best run was the ranch when they had the ranch, but even then, right? Because they did this, like, whatever it was, like D-ball cleans in the middle of like a weighted run to an unweighted run, and it's always something in that capacity. But that was the coolest one. And then they've sort of just done the same thing over and over and over again. Like this year, I said this on Claire's yesterday with Claire on Sunday. The rope climb was completely pointless, and the rope climb should have been in the final. That's just it. Should have been in the final, or muscle ups, or some pulling thing, right? It should have been like, I don't know, like a 25/20 cal bike, 5 legless rope climbs, 100-foot or 100-meter carry, 25/20 cal bike or 50 cal bike or something to that effect. Put the gymnastics in the middle of it, and make it actually a point. And so it was a miss. The rope climb was dumb. They could have just done a little bit longer of lunges, but again, there were just no lead changes. It just didn't make any sense. Judy, yes, this year different than last year, which is a super important, another like public influence change for sure. There are no geographical limitations to semifinals. And yeah, and if we're getting into the programming, the handstands were a miss. The bench press was a huge fucking miss. The bench press, the handstands are just a miss by not knowing the ability of the athlete, which happens because some people are just out of touch of what they're capable of. Okay. Right. That's just the case. It should have been a deficit. It's not even a question. It's just a miss in the sense of it wasn't hard enough. Okay. The bench press fundamentally is an incorrect way to do it in our sport, right? You cannot do anything that is not the exact same workout ever. JD, I disagree with this. I don't think that's the case. Like the chipper, you didn't know, right? You didn't know of workout 1. You certainly didn't know in workout 3, or I don't think you knew that in any of them. I understand your sentiment here. Every workout is kind of boring. I think all workouts are fun to watch personally. People got caught on the last workout in the carry. But just the long workout in general, the rope climb just didn't make a sense. If the chipper started with the log muscle ups, If the only reason I disagree with this, so if you flipped it, I don't know if it would have, because look at like how well, I mean, some like people got caught. Like some people were just really slow at the other stuff, right? Some people don't walk that fast on their hands. And if you do it fresh, the field is way more balanced, right? So you can't say that if the chipper started with the logs, you would have seen who was. I disagree. I don't think that's the case, right? Because like Guy did pretty well on the logs, but I think he would have got passed up everywhere else. You know, as fitness would have dropped down. You know, like Jason was doing 5 unbroken on the log in the back. So maybe Jason does a lot better. I don't think that's the case. I don't know if I agree with that. I know you always try and have a hot take, and I appreciate it, but I don't think it's the case. I think 2 minutes is like a smaller number, maybe like 75% of the way through the workout is probably like a more accurate number. In general. I'm not frozen. I'm thinking. I also don't know if a workout is boring if there isn't a good race, by the way. I don't know if that defines boring, because it's fun to watch Tia dominate. You know, I don't know. That would, I mean, if this was the case after 2 minutes, then it wouldn't be an aerobic sport, right? Because at 2 minutes, Guy is probably in every contention in every race, right? I know this is just like an arbitrary number, but there is a point in most workouts where you know who is going to win, for sure. But people got caught on the bag, right? Like Ricky outwalked Jason on the bag. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and think about this. 2 minutes is too short, but there's probably like a 75 or 80%. Like a terminal velocity. Like there's a point where there's just no coming back, right? And it's just as like there's no turnaround. That person is going to win. I don't know where that is in a workout though. I feel like that's probably very workout dependent. Anyways, handstands were dumb. Coming back to the bench press, the whole point of CrossFit is to do whatever the test is at hand and compare it to everyone. But when you do a percentage bias on weights, then like you completely, like the big guy is already at a disadvantage in so much of our sport, in any gymnastics or body weight pattern or squat pattern, from a cycle speed and that is, so when you do a percentage of body weight, like if you just did a regular bench press, the big guy should have a little bit of an advantage balance to the pegboard. And so coming back to that, pegboard's a great example. Kazan was well in the lead and then she blew up. So that's not the case. This is not a good comparison or analogy, or you're being too hyperbolic. Anyways, that you literally can't do that in our sport. It defeats the entire purpose of it, right? The way they did Linda in 2000 and whatever 17 or 18, by taking the average weight of all of everybody and using that same weight for the deadlift, the bench press, and the clean relative to the average body weight of all the people there, is the 100% the way to do it. So I hope that we never see that again, because it's fundamentally not accurate and consistent with the sport of CrossFit and being able to race, you know, and things. There's no way, whatever this is, Haley does not weigh 167 pounds. There's no way. So I don't know if that's like, there's 0% chance that she weighs 170 pounds. If she does weigh 167 pounds, which is, I guess is possible. She only wears baggy shirts, would be a great example of why she's fucking terrible. Because I mean, she gained way too much weight and she just doesn't have any aerobic capacity currently. that much weight gain would for sure, which I don't even believe it for 10% of that concept, but that much weight gain that fast would for sure be why her fitness is suffering. The workouts are really hard for her. She's not good at the pegboard lateral. Wasn't it? Yeah, I don't know. What was the female's weight. I don't think that was her weight. I don't know. I'm not going to go look at it. There's no way she weighs 167 pounds. I coach athletes in, maybe anyone know what's up with her. I mean, she just didn't look fit at all. Right. No, it's not, she's never, so she flunked the GHD and handstand workout though. She's never been able to do the log muscle up, like ever. So Adrian misspoke. Like, she's terrible at them, which is crazy because she's exceptional at gymnastics. She just can't figure them out. It doesn't look like they practice them either. Ask the boys, but where do you rank this year's Rogue and all-time beatdowns? I mean, if you really, you're just looking at one workout. You're just looking at one workout in nature. The chipper wasn't that bad. The yoke into the stair was hard. I mean, you have a lot of events that are really short. That specifically one workout, I mean, we're looking back in the 2015 Murph sort of CNS, pure exhaustion, muscular failure sort of influence. If you take out that workout, it's just another competition. I don't think it was that crazy. The deadlifts were heavy, but they weren't I don't think they were that crazy. I mean, everyone could do them. And it really only got heavy for 6-3-1, 12 and 9 were kind of arbitrary. But I just don't know. I haven't really sat down to look at it. I got to stare at the workouts. Sorry. It was right in the ear. Sorry, guys. That kind of came up quick. Oh. Rogue Invitational workouts. I guess I can take this off the screen. Put my face back up here. Okay. I mean, event 1, we'll just go. Let's go here. All right. Event 1, I mean, not a beatdown. Event 2, probably a little bit of a beatdown. Event 3. So we take event 2 and 3, very tough. Event 4, not a beatdown at all. Event 6, I don't know, 60% of a beatdown, depending on if you can deadlift or not. Event 9, no. Event 7, a 5K run with some lunging, no. Event 5, the duel, no. Not even a little bit. I mean, I think the hardest thing to look at is, I mean, I think if you're looking at a beatdown, I feel like whatever it was, the Asia Championships last year, the 9 barbell workouts, that is up there on one of them, right? Just from the pure contraction volume of some of that stuff. I think we're looking at older CrossFit events. I think 2020 is the biggest beatdown ever, CrossFit Games. And it's not even close. With 5 athletes there. I even think that the first portion is probably up there too, because of how traditional CrossFit it was and how much contraction volume was in that stage 1 of there. That was probably some of the sorest that people have ever been. You had like all of the girl influences to that bit, that amount of intensity in traditional CrossFit in a short amount of time is crazy. So I think 2020 probably goes pretty close to like 1 and 2. If together it's for sure 1, and 2020 stage 2 is 100% the hardest, and like the biggest beatdown ever. Just Atalanta alone sets it apart fully from that. But just the total volume, the ranch run, the load. I mean, doing the ranch run and the CrossFit total in the same competition is fucking diabolical. I think the early CrossFit stuff is probably there. Really just like 15, 15, 16. And just looking at, trying to think, I can't think of, let's say 2015 CrossFit Games. All right, so Murph, Sprint, Midline Madness, definitely. But the problem is I think for this pedal to the metal 1 and 2 very hard. But I think the challenge with doing anything that old is just the fact that people were so much less efficient. You know what I mean? Like they just weren't good. And that's a very like broad statement to me, or hyperbolic. They were so much so much less efficient, talented, strong, enduring back then as they are now. The guys doing the same workout now, they just do so much better at it, right? They're efficient. And I also think people just push not as hard. Like people are just smarter about how they approach training. And so I think when you look at things like this, there was a lot of new. The pick flip was new, still very heavy. I mean, this is up there, right? But I think 15 is definitely a good one. I think 16 is probably up there too. I do think, Murph has a big influence on it. Yeah, ring handstand push-ups. But I mean, look at the back squats, right? It's like, oh, what does that even mean? It's like a nothing burger, right? As deadlift ladder, ranch run. And so I think what is different about things like 15 and 16 is those are in it because of like the influence of what the aerobic piece was. I mean, you had a 7K trail run, which is the equivalent of probably like a 10 to 15K flat run as far as fatigue, and then 2 more miles of running, right? That's a crazy one. And so it's a beat down, but from a different perspective, right? Deadlift ladder. Funny, they said 500 is the biggest, but this deadlift ladder went up to 600. Like this ranch, the mini chipper is so painful. Squat clean pyramid, heavy loads, double DT, a lot of traditional barbell cycling. So yeah, for sure. I agree. The influence Murph had on 15? Well, I don't think 16. I think 16 is the ranch trail run. Personally, I think the ranch trail run is probably a bigger driver. Splitting Murph into 5 rounds, doing it at 7 in the morning versus 12 in the afternoon makes a huge difference. But overall too. But yes, we're on the same page. I agree. And then this one, dude, the berm. I don't think people realize the berm run was just so hard. And if you guys haven't been around since before 2017 and seen Madison, like no one ran up the berm well. Everyone fucking wogged, right? They jogged up the berm, even in round 1 of everything, right? Which is why I think Naughty Nancy might be my favorite workout ever at Carson, just because of that berm. Like that berm added so much influence to whatever workout they were writing in it, and it was amazing. JD, do we think now that they are better, it's more intensity? No, because I don't think they push as hard. I don't think people, at least in the workouts in the shorter workouts where they know where they can, yes, until 2000 and I don't know. I mean, whenever 2019, 18, someone was going to come out and try and do Murph and run a 5-minute first mile. So, which means people were going to come along, right? So I think in the workouts where like intensity would be the killer, in the sense of like the 7K trail run or something like the ranch mini chipper or double DT, people would just come out and just make really bad fucking decisions so early that it would beat them down more. Right. I think people are faster now just because they're smarter, not because they're able to express more intensity. Right. And I know by definition, if they finish faster, there is more intensity and more power, but people will just come out and try and Kool-Aid man it, just blow their face through a wall and hope to hold on. And no one does that anymore. So while I think they finish faster, I actually don't think some of the workouts are more intense. Now, obviously that's not the case for everything, right? Like, but a good example is like the burpee overhead squat, right? In 2013, 14, 15, 16, everyone would have been good at that as long as they could have overhead squatted the weight. Um, uh, and, um, and so I think we would have seen, I think overall, we probably would have seen faster times like from that earlier, like the earlier games athletes versus these guys. And something is very similar to that, just because someone would like there would be people that are just really good at that lower effort, not lower effort, lower skill stuff. And I think people they just tried way hard. I think they tried to push intensity more back then just from a lack of knowledge. Right. Pacing has become king. Exactly. Thank you. Okay. Vicky asks, could it be argued that Colton is fitter because in the sprint stuff he's supposed to do well at, he leaves a huge gap and has to push harder on the stuff he's not built? Like the stuff he's really bad at, he has to work so much harder to even keep up with the field. And then the stuff he is good at, he can kind of pull it down or create a bigger gap. I think Colton is really good where he's really good. I think that his holes are always going to be his holes, even though he will shore them up indefinitely. Like he'll continue to build them, but the field will continue to move. I don't know if he's going to be able to shore up the holes of like anything ambulation based, like moving from one place to another. Yeah. And so he's expressing more intensity. I understand what you're saying. So that would be like saying the person in last place is the fittest just because they're always chasing everyone else and they're trying as hard as they can to get the time that they're getting, even though it's a shitty time. So no, I don't think that's the case. And I also don't know if sprints are the things that he is good at. It is just the things that he is good at always show up in sprints, right? Squat volume, burpees, and handstand push-up stuff, right? Because where he is good isn't good there because it is a short workout. He is good there because those movements, because they're high contraction rates, will usually only show up in shorter workouts, right? Like if Colton would have been at Mary, like there's a really good chance he wins Mary. I actually don't know if I've ever seen Colton pistol. I'm assuming he pistols fine. So, like that's a really long workout, but I think he would have done extremely well there in something like that. So, yeah, he's just uniquely gifted in a few areas in our sport where I don't think anyone will ever catch him. And he will always have a challenge to like come up to the field or be close to the field and those other things. Right. But I think that he certainly can and continue to be better and better and better. He'll never use any excuse to say that he won't. So, but yeah, I think he could probably stop squatting and stop burping for 2 years and no one would catch him on event 8 or some of the other workouts that he just absolutely demolishes the field on. Okay. Sweet. That was a good show. Does anyone have anything? Oh, I need to pull up. Natalie sent me this. And Natalie, so I just want to show off Natalie. Natalie getting a fucking loud. 190 pounds. And she's going to power clean it for sure better than me. A little bit low of a contact point, Natalie, but that's all right. And the hang power clean. Not even a warm up. Not even a warm up. Kudos to you, dude. Yeah, that was super impressive. You're super strong. Super strong chick, no doubt about it. Let's see. I think that's all I got. Anyone got anything? We're gonna have lady lifts. Yes, lady lifts. I don't think that was 155. I think you sent me the same video twice. Personally. We'll just call that 190. Shh. We're gonna have me and John are going to do a show on Friday. Me and Claire will be on Friday morning. Me and John will be on Friday afternoon, doing a kind of a sort of a prediction show, a little bit of a rogue, not a rogue recap, but just a little different take on Rogue, and then and then kind of a too early prediction for the season. And I'm going to have Joe on at some point this week to go over getting Del Mar and the Masters and age group games and the decisions for quarterfinals and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to try and get Bob on too, but it'll be for sure Joe at some point Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Hopefully not Friday. I don't want to do three shows on Friday. That would suck. So we're going to try and get them on probably Thursday. I'd like to do a night show. Maybe we can get quite a few people on to ask some questions in there. And so, I think the YouTube space is heavily influenced by the Savon, the 70s, like the Savon crew and Hiller. And so I want to try and paint Bob and Joe in a different light in the fact that they have it and we need to support them. And I think they're going to put on a great event. And I have full faith that they're going to make sure that the programming is appropriate and the right people are going to move forward. So we support them here at WODprep, even though Hiller doesn't. And we're going to have them on and really continue to be supportive of the Masters and age group community. And try and give some light to them. So, all right, guys, thank you so much, Bennett. Perfect timing. Bennett just started chirping. That's right, Jeremy. You have worked with Joe. Super good dude. And so, anyways, thank you guys so much. That was a good show. That was a lot of fun. You guys should be proud. I was prepared. I had fucking notes. Look at this. Look at this thing. This is like the most quintessential like wife notepad on the refrigerator that I just took and started writing down notes this morning. All right. Take it easy, guys. Train hard, be a savage, and we'll see you later in the week. Peace.